How you doing, sir?
Yes, hello, how are you?
Sir, I congratulate you on a amazing film.
Oh,
I've seen it 3 times, and every time I see it, I'm just blown away by your artistry and expertise. So thank you for your time.
thank you very much.
All right, so let's start from the beginning, right? Because you're an acclaimed filmmaker. You've done many great films before, but now you're going in a completely unexpected direction with gastronomy, with French period gastronomy and romance. It's beautifully done. Talk about the source material. What made you want to write this screenplay and be inspired to make this film?
Oh, yes, I found a book and I quite like it. I mean, in the book there was some pages about how people talk about food, and it surprised me. I really like it, so I wanted to to share it with the audience. So I decided to adapt the book, but I didn't like the story told in the book, so I made up another story that come before the book, um, because I found that in movies with the food, most of the time we start very well with the food, with the cooking scenes, and then the drama, uh, the story took over, and then we don't see it too much. And I wanted to have a lot of cooking scenes and try to find a way to create a balance with the main story, which is here a love story between Dodin and Eugénie. That was, the whole idea of this movie.
There is a sensual artistry, if I may use that term, where you see, Dodine and Eugenie, where they're cooking the fish and they're peeling the sole and they're working. But then when you see them later at night and he's gently stroking her back, and then you see the frames of her, with her back, it's just there's an artistry that connects it, right? So I was wondering, is there something erotic about that you wanted to promote, or is it something that's more of a feeling of love?
Oh, I think that's simply because food and love are the two sources of sensuality in our life. And I think that it has to do with our hands, I think. So when you cook, you need your hands, a lot. You touch meat, fruit and vegetables. You use a lot of water. You play with fire. So all this, is something about the hands. And then with love, of course, it's also hands and skin, and the taste and all this. So I think it's something. It has something to do with the hands, because when I don't know why, but when I was a child, I was always fascinated by hands in at work. When they when I see someone crafting something, I can spend a day watching them doing it. You know.
I want to talk about your camera work specifically, because you have these long, scenes of the cooking, which are masterful and just really impressive, right? But there's an intimacy where you move the camera, where you have the overhead shot, and then you see the individual at work. And even when they're walking, when Pauline is carrying the plate and Violette is carrying the plate, you see them going up the stairs and coming down. Talk about that process. Why was it so important to actually show the delivery, to show the presentation?
I think that for me, the cinema is an art of incarnation. It means that you put ideas, dialogue, and stories in the body of the actors. So I really like to see their body expressing something in the movie. So everything, for instance, when I try to find a place to shoot the movie, the most important thing is the circulation between rooms, between places, because I want to see the body walking, going through these spaces to get to somewhere. Because for me, it has a sensuality to it, and it's also something that is very gracious, to see the body moving. That's why I like these long takes with the people walking around and delivering things, and I think it's and also when you see someone carrying a dish and walk a long time, you create somehow a suspense, how all this will be received by the person at the other end of the road.
So, one of the things that was really impressive is you're filming in the chateau, right? And spaces are very confined. And as a filmmaker on set, when you do all these different setups, it's so hard to keep everything straight from setup to setup. But you're cooking. There's fire, there's smoke, there's steam, and I assume you have things that can degrade, like edibles and meats and fish and so on. So talk about working with your culinary advisors to make those scenes fluid, and what problems did you have actually filming the cooking?
The problem that I had to film the cooking, it's really my part, because working with Pierre Gagnère, and then a consultant on the set, it's someone else. It's Michel Nave. He's there to keep, the spirit of what Pierre Gagnère decided for the movie. How we are going to see the food in the movie. The food that need to be shown in the movie, but how it's my part. And for that, I rely on this idea of harmony, because Dodin and Eugénie, they worked together for a very long time. So there was a kind of harmony between them at work. So I need to create a kind of ballet to express this idea of harmony to the audience. And this was something that is very, very complicated to achieve on the set, because you need to for instance, when I have a long shot and I have to go from one state of a dish to another dish with the right state of the cooking of this other dish, it's very complicated, to put everything together, and how to combine the camera movement to the movement of the actors, that I would like to be very free, with no marks on the ground. So that was complicated.
So let's move on to your casting, which once again is sublime, right? So Benoît and Juliette, they have this very intimate love story, but they're almost at hand's length for this 20-year romance where he loves her and he wants to marry her, but she's still afraid to be his wife, right? And so you boil it slowly, right? It starts at a simmer and then it goes to a boil in that masterful climax of the presentation, right? So talk about the actors, and obviously they were married before, so they must have some romance between them. But talk about developing that slow boil romance.
I think the beauty of their relationship is the fact that come from the fact that she always refused to be his wife. So by doing so, she puts some distance between him and her. So at the moment of the movie, we can feel that she knows that she's going to die, and then she decided to give him what he was asking for a very long time. And I think that her decision to marry him come before the moment where he cooked for her. I mean that the cooking is not that convincing, but we can see the expression of love from Dodin. But the decision was made before that by her, because we can guess that it was the case, because she's the one who would like to train Pauline, to give her, her knowledge about. But she also knows that she will die before. That's why it's a way for her to somehow give Dodin a daughter. And somehow, because of her promise made to Pauline, Dodin, after her death, need to go back to life. He need to hire another cook so that he can keep the promise that she made to Pauline to train her. And by doing so, he would make up with life again. So I think it's a very profound idea. It's something that is really beautiful in the character of Eugenie. She managed everything before she died.
Wow, that blows my mind. That is such a profound response, and I really appreciate that. And the scene where he's serving her, when he presents the ring, and just the look on her face, right? Because I feel in the beginning she's more dutiful and reserved, but we finally see her kind of unlocking a piece of happiness where she's kind of letting the bird out of the cage and being free. So talking about that scene specifically, there's so much that's unsaid, right? It's really in how he says, "Can I watch you eat?" Talk about developing that scene.
Yeah, you said the right line, because for me is the sexiest line in the movie. Can I watch you eat? It's so intimate. It's something that is so unusual. And she laughed, because of this line. I really like. I think that it's one of my favorite, line in the movie. Very simple, And for me, what you said about Eugenie, I cannot say better than that. But we can also notice how Dodin was anxious in the kitchen, because he know that he's going to cook for a very good cook, and how to surprise her, how to be creative, and so without saying it, but in the movie you have one moment where Dodin said that there is only 13 years between the death of Antonin Carême and the birth of Auguste Escoffier. Carême is seen as like an ancestor of cuisine in France. And Auguste Escoffier, he is the man who brought cuisine in the modern time. So it's very amazing to see how much they are close to each other, and how much they make the evolution of cooking in France in a very short time. So this scene where Dodin cooked for Eugenie, in fact, it's the beginning. What he's doing for her is the beginning of the modern cuisine that we see today, especially with the oyster and caviar and everything. The way it is done, it was not from that period. Somehow he tried something new because he need to surprise her. And for me, it's also the illustration of this idea that about Carême and Escoffier.
Brilliant. I mean, just that means so much more now. I understand the value of the scene. So, when they read the Oscar nominations, right, I was mind blown that the film was not nominated for Best International Feature. Now, you are an acclaimed filmmaker. You've won the Grand Prix. Your shelf is filled with awards, right? And my review, everyone absolutely loves this film. So you've achieved critical success with this movie, right? But were you disappointed to not get an Oscar nomination for the film for international feature?
Yes, of course, I was disappointed. But the heartbreak was over 3 days after, because I think back, and I made a very good movie, and it's a gift to the audience, and it was enough for me somehow. It's enough. I don't need more.
That's brilliant. So, one of the things I was thinking when watching this movie is, I used to work in restaurants growing up, right? And I used to get sick of the food that they served, right? Was there ever a day on set where you were tired of food, where you were like, you know what? I'm just not hungry anymore.
No, not at all. Because everything with this was real. I didn't want to have a food stylist who would, you know, use something that it was not edible to make the food beautiful, you know. So I didn't want it. I want everything real, so that at the end of the day, we can take home what we cook for the scenes. So everyone, you know, took something home for the dinner after the, you know, and for the actors also, when you have the scenes where they eat, you know, for the screen, when I said cut, they keep on eating and they finish the dish, you know. And so it takes some time, and everybody, you know, the assistants were there standing next to them very close and telling them to hurry up because they need to reset everything for the next take. And during the shooting, they gain weight, all of them, they gain weight. So my wife, who create the costume, she has she had to enlarge the, you know, the costumes, you know, day after day until the end of the shooting, where she worked to me and she said, today you are going to shoot the scene unbuttoned because it cannot enlarge anymore, and no room to button the the costume.
Bravo, sir. They give me the rap notice. Thank you for your time. And I want to tell you, you made one of the best films of last year, and it's an honor to interview you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye. Goodbye.